When we think of the biggest companies, we think of Google or Apple or Amazon. One quick Google search might even make it seem like it's true. But if you look closer, you will also find a Chinese company in the rankings, which you might not have even heard about.
Tencent.
Tencent is a company that owns or has multiple stakes in companies in almost every sector. The car business, they have a stake in it as well. The gaming industry, Tencent's gaming division is the biggest in the world. Even in the social media division, their main app called WeChat is the largest social media app in China. The list of companies that they have in their hands is scary. Riot Games, the developers of League of Legends and Valorant, well, Tencent owns 100% of it. Epic Games, the maker of Fortnite, they own 40% of it. They even have their hands on Ubisoft, Activision, and many other game companies as well. But that's not the scary part of their business. It was founded in November of 1998 as Tencent Incorporated. It started its journey by releasing a messaging app called OICQ, which they later changed to QQ due to a lawsuit filed by ICQ and its parent company, AOL. It was initially not profitable for the first 3 years, just like most of the startup companies. Their main way of funding themselves was with advertisements and premium memberships of QQ. The premium members paid a monthly fee to get some extra features in the app. They later extended their income sources by licensing their logo of the penguin to be used in shirts and snacks. Tencent was always into the gaming industry. They started investing in it from 2004. They invested in games like Crossfire and Dungeon Fighter Online. They later also started making their own games. While most of their games are mobile-based, like the massively popular PUBG, they also have their hands in the PC gaming industry as well. It even made a small investment into the then up-and-coming game-making company Riot Games in 2008. In 2009, when Riot Games released League of Legends, it was an instant success. Looking at that, Tencent became interested and invested more into the company, becoming its major shareholder in 2011. And finally, in 2015, Riot Games sold its remaining equity to Tencent, making them the 100% owner of the company. In 2011, they released Weixin, which later became the super popular WeChat. This was the move that would be the turning point of the company. This single app made this company the most valuable company in China. It also made it known to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. This app is regarded as a super app in China because of its monthly active users being 1 billion, almost triple the amount of Twitter users. It is also an app that does it all, combining the functionalities of WhatsApp, PayPal, and Netflix all into one. The people of China were very interested in the capabilities of the app and almost all of them downloaded it on their phone. It quickly became the most popular app in China and was becoming popular even around the world. Right from the start, Tencent was always looking to expand their business. They first got into the gaming business in 2004 by buying major shares in Korean gaming companies who made Crossfire and Dungeon Fighter Online. This was the start of their global monopoly of the gaming industry. In 2011, they bought out Riot Games. They already had the majority shares for the company, which they invested in 2008. In 2011, however, Riot Games sold the majority of their shares to Tencent, and finally, in 2015, Tencent became the 100% owner of Riot. During the same period, in June of 2012, they bought shares for Epic Games, the maker of the massively popular Fortnite. They even have shares in Activision Blizzard and the Chinese search engine Sogo.com. They have their hands in food delivery and restaurant websites as well, called Dianping, along with an e-commerce website called JD.com. With this, they wanted to compete with the immensely popular Alibaba.com. In 2015, they launched WeBank, which was China's first online banking portal. The same year, they signed with the NBA, National Basketball Association, to get an exclusive rights to stream their games to China. This would be a big deal in one of the controversies, which we will discuss a little later. They also acquired 86% of the company Supercell, the maker of the popular Clash of Clans mobile game. And because this was not enough, they also wanted to venture into the car world. They invested in a car startup along with the famous luxury car dealer Harmony New Energy Auto called Future Mobility to make and sell all-electric fully autonomous premier cars. Unfortunately, the company filed for bankruptcy in 2021. Because of Chinese policies, private companies like Tencent are required to have Communist Party members in order to succeed. But there are various rumors that say that the majority of the board members of the company are the members of the Communist Party and therefore hold power to influence the company's decision. In May of 2017, Tencent surpassed Wells Fargo to enter the 10 most valuable companies in the world. In 2017, they were ranked as the 8th most valuable company in Brand's top 100 most valuable global brands. This was it. This is where they gained their recognition globally. But not everyone was happy with it. This global recognition also brought it under the views of authorities and people in the security division. We can't go any further without talking about the app that puts them in the map, WeChat, probably the single biggest app in China. It's one app that does it all. You can pay online like PayPal, you can watch shows like Netflix, and even send messages like WhatsApp. That's not all. You can also buy stuff like Amazon. It has over 1 billion monthly active users, more than any other app in China, and more than 3 times the amount of Twitter. Tencent was the creator of the app. They made the app as the successor of QQ, their first app that they started their company with. WeChat is a free app that is made to connect everyone. It even became popular in other countries as well, like India. With the rise in its popularity and Tencent going crazy by buying everything it can get its hands on, the brand grew exponentially. But this growth was not instant. Their customers thought that the app lacked some very basic features. The user base was not growing as the company had hoped it would, so they added new features. They added the voice chat feature, which lured in some more users. Then finally, after the addition of WeChat payment with the integration of WeBank, the users really started to grow. In 2014, its active users reached over 400 million. In 2016, the active user base almost reached 900 million. And by 2018, WeChat was being used by 93.5% of the Chinese internet users. This all sounds like Tencent is the best company ever, making the best decisions any company could. But why is it that most of the population outside of China does not even know about it? Almost every other company in the top 10 most valued companies are known worldwide, like Apple, Amazon, and Google. Why is it that such a big and well-established company is not getting in the headlines of every newspaper? That is where the dark side of the company starts to come into the light. To be successful as a private company in China, they must have approvals of the CCP, and rumor has it that most of the board members of the company do contain the members of the CCP. That itself is not very dangerous, but it gets dangerous when you look into their portfolio and see what sectors they are into. And as we have discussed before, they are everywhere. Gaming industry, they have the biggest in the world. Automotive industry, they have stakes in Tesla, BMW, and own many other companies. Social media, they have the biggest messaging app in China. They have their mark over everything. This makes it very dangerous because after the incident with Snowden, we all know how the government uses technology to spy on everyone. Tencent is no different. Their messaging app censors everything bad about the ruling party. There have been multiple cases where people who talk bad about the party or the members getting arrested for just a single text. There are also rumors that people who accuse party members of some crime are never seen again. Now these accusations are not proven, but there are many such stories. This begs the question, if they monitor the messages, what else do they monitor? They have their hands everywhere, so they can in fact use the data of so many people. Amnesty International carried out a report where they ranked many companies on the basis of security and how they handle data. While Facebook and Apple got a very commendable score, Tencent, BlackBerry, and Snapchat got a score of below 30. And even worse, Tencent got a score of 0 out of a possible 100. Amnesty International said that Tencent were taking the least action for messaging privacy and were the least transparent. The Chinese government also confirms that they can in fact read deleted WeChat messages. That is not all. After acquiring the rights to stream the NBA games in China, the Houston Rockets manager protested saying that stand with Hong Kong. Tencent did not take this lightly and refused to stream the Rockets games. So the NBA had to take action and the manager deleted his tweet and apologized for his actions. In later interviews, it can also be seen that the players saying that they like China just to make sure that there is no bad blood with the company or the country.
Yeah, we apologize. Um, you know, we love China. We love playing there.
Tencent, also being heavily invested in the gaming industry, also prohibits children under the age of 18 from playing for too long. Games that Tencent holds major shares of restrict children to play only for 90 minutes a day. This would be very easily bypassed by simply lying about their age. But because the Chinese government banned many games and only allowed 3 hours of gameplay in a week, Tencent could not afford to slip here. They cannot afford to misidentify the ages and bypass their system. So with every game download, they scan the users, and with the help of the Chinese database, they use facial recognition to verify the age of the users. Many of the games were changed to please the Chinese government. One of the most popular games of Tencent is PUBG. You may have seen Shrouds with his Reddit clips doing some insane stuff like this.
That was my last bullet too. What the f? I told you, dude, I thought I was gonna die right away.
But in China, they have to change the game. The game was on the ban list, but Tencent could not afford any more losses. Due to the banning of so many other games, they were running at a loss in China. They had to change their most popular game along with the facial recognition stuff. So instead of making the game about 100 people being dropped in a war zone where they had to survive, they were made to play as patriots fighting for the country. When they kill another player, the player did not just die in place. Instead, they sat in a meditating position and waved the patriot goodbye before simply disappearing. They also changed the red blood that would come out if someone shot someone into a green liquid. All these changes were necessary for the company to still operate in China. The scariest part of this was the facial recognition. They could easily do that to all users of the game. And due to many other risks of the company handling of data, many of their apps were banned from the US and India. India had to ban hundreds of Tencent apps after their border disputes. They feared that the company could easily spy on the users of the app. They banned Tencent and many of the Chinese apps that they thought have the risk of security breach. As a result, PUBG Mobile was banned in India. PUBG Mobile was at the time the most played game in the country, and due to its ban, many people were irritated. Looking at the growth of the company, it does not seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, but the security risks still remain. Even though the game Valorant, made by Riot Games, which is 100% owned by Tencent, has some very promising status regarding the security aspects, there still remains the question of whether or not the CCP can influence them in that sector too. Although the Chinese government are now putting many different regulations to stop these giant tech companies like Alibaba or the Ant company owned by Jack Ma or Tencent to monopolize the sectors, Tencent still thrives and will continue on growing as they still have their ties to the government and still provide ways of surveillance for the party. And unlike Jack Ma, who publicly defamed the system of the Chinese government, Tencent are always supportive of it and so has been on a rather good side of the government. That was the story of the company who owns everything. The amount of power and data they have for numerous people is unimaginable. If they are allowed to access the data freely, it can prove to be very dangerous. Also, if the rumors that say that most of the board members of the company are in fact from the CCP, it could spell disaster. However, the party is now gunning down on the company in China itself. They don't like how much power these tech companies have. They are putting down regulations that limit what these companies can and cannot do. They have fined many companies, including Tencent, for hundreds of millions of dollars for their monopoly in the market and also many other malpractices. That being said, Tencent have mostly stayed out of any other controversies recently.